Alright, update time. I've been doing quite a bit, and let's just get right to it. I'll show you everything that's been going on. Alright, before I get into the list to review, I'll show you some of the more notable items. First off is, you can't really tell because it's not on the lift, but I created a new steering rack mount. It's configured in an X, like an X frame, bolted to the subframe with extra bracing on it, of course. And it's pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with it. One of the bummers about it was I put the steering rack in a slightly better position, but it changed the angle of the steering shaft, so I had to chop more out of my little subframe stubby there. And then I also had to elongate the hole in the firewall. I put a rubber boot on there. That's all tight in there. I just have to fill in some of the gap now. But that'll turn out alright. I also replaced the... Sorry. This camera is not the best for image stabilization, but we'll get through it. I replaced the entire engine harness. I still have some, wiring to clean up. It's kind of ugly here. But the last one we had modified ourselves to make it standalone, and then this time around just bought a fresh standalone one, already modified. And instead of it going through the AC port, I actually put the AC evaporator, I think it is, back in. I made the transmission tunnel narrow enough so the AC evaporator would fit, and you can see that there. And then these wires now go through the stock, shadows in the way, the stock grommet there. So that's pretty cool. I think I talked about the alternator wiring with the battery cutoff last time, but in case I didn't, I'll repeat myself. For the battery cutoff to work, you have to have the alternator power separate from the battery power. So I have the alternator line going into a 150 amp fuse, and then out to the back to the cutoff switch, and then this is what goes from the battery to a little distribution block there, so that when I push that switch or cut off that switch, it kills the engine power completely, and the engine can't just run off with the alternator. It kills that power as well. Another thing, looking at the engine bay here, is that little guy right there. I had the stock 3.5 inch mass airflow sensor, and one of the ways to eke a little bit more power capability, ignore that cap right now, to eke a little bit more power capability out of the mass airflow sensor is to go with a larger pipe, and to go with a larger diameter pipe, intake pipe. This is now 4 inch. You have to go with this card style mass airflow sensor. This is from a was it LS3, LS7, and it has the inlet air temperature sensor built into it. But makes sense. For any given reading with the bigger tubing, more air is going into the engine. So that is what that is all about. It's a pain to tune. You have to remap the entire mass airflow transfer function table thingy, but that's coming along well. I've been driving this quite a bit, tuning it quite a bit. It runs, starts up perfectly, runs, drives, cruises pretty darn well. Have not gone wide open with that mass airflow sensor yet. Another thing, and you may have noticed this in some of the recent videos, is I got new wheels. These are ESR RF2, sort of a decent middle of the line wheel. They are rotary formed, which means the barrel of the wheel has some special forming processes that makes it lighter and stronger. So they're not the high dollar forged wheels, but they're not the cheap cast wheels either. They are 8.5 in the front, 9.5 in the back, and the front tires are 245/40/19. Normally with the stock configuration, you can't get away with that tall of a sidewall when you move up to a 19-inch wheel, but obviously my configuration is not stock, so I'm able to put beefier sidewalls. These are the same sidewall height as the 18-inch stock wheels, so I think it's perfect. Doesn't look like a rubber band on a wheel. Excuse me. They're plus 30 up front offset, and they sit perfectly flush. The rears are 9.5 inch. They're plus 35, which kind of barely, maybe tiny poke out a little. Yeah, I don't know. They look pretty awesome too. They are 275, 35, 19. So they've got some meat to them also. They fit perfect. I could actually go, I don't know, I could go with a 10 or 10.5 inch wheel with 295s on it. I bet I got a lot of clearance there. While I'm back here, I'll show you where I'm at so far with this. Drilled the hole for the rod to go in for the battery cutoff switch. Cracked the plastic in the process, which sucks. But that'll be a different video when I show you that because it's not done. The battery box that I have is too big. I want to keep the spare tire. And the battery box is trying to prevent me from doing that. Oh. Let's see. Oh, I got something cool to show you. Check this out. Well, it's cool to me. So I'll go ahead and do key on. You hear the fuel pump. And then also, before I get to the other cool thing, I've got my AEM wideband. Have that connected to HP tuners, so I can set up the AFR error table and tune from it. Let me get up front here. Sorry for any shakiness. There we go. All right. This is what I think is cool. These were kind of, no, I don't, popular is too strong of a word, but back in the day, so they say, people were doing this, and I had these headlights from a long time ago, and I had the halo done to them, angel eye, whatever you want to call them. I had the halos tucked all the way in the back, so they don't stick out, like all the way in the back by the projector. But the racer in me loves these things. I think it's kind of cool. So there's that. I have to do the headlights and the blinkers next. They're different harnesses with it being a first gen. So I'll be doing those. Alright. On to something else awesome. Alright, as you may know, I'm going to Rocky Mountain Raceway. I've said it quite a bit. Well, with Rocky Mountains comes altitude, and with altitude comes a detriment to horsepower, especially for naturally aspirated cars. This swap right now, well, no. What I'm trying to say is I don't want to be embarrassed by doing this stupid swap only to be as fast as, I don't know, a minor turbo upgrade stock twin turbo cars like 15 Gs or whatever, DR 500, 750, something like that. It's heads cam intake LS1, maybe 450 to the wheels. You know, it's pretty stout, but it'll be trapping. If I hit 120, I'll be happy. Probably not. Not the fastest thing in the world. But then I go up to altitude with the potential to be on, you know, there's going to be a ton of people there. I'm sure a lot of people are taking videos and stuff. I don't want to be that guy that did this stupid swap and then ended up just being like slow or slow-ish. You know, it needs to be a little bit peppier than a bolt-on car or upgraded turbo bolt-on car. So maybe you understand what I'm getting at here. I need to make up that horsepower. I would probably lose like 8,200. I used to live in Colorado, and I had a heads and cam Camaro SS, very similar to this, without, I've got the fast intake on this, and it trapped 108, I think, in Colorado, and now here in St. Louis, that same car trapped 117. Now maybe there's a little bit of tuning that could have been done, but still, you're talking 8 to 10 mile an hour any way you look at it from a naturally aspirated car. That's a lot of horsepower. So I went and got this. I was going to throw a 100 shot on it. That would make up for that horsepower that I lost, and probably still run 11s, which I'd be all right with. Then I had a little bit of a change of heart, I guess you could say. So I went and got this. Let me pull it out of the bag. Sorry if this is loud on your headphones. There we go. I see it? Yeah, there you go. This is a Vortec unit, and that's going to be awesome. I mean, why not just add boost? I've got intercooler piping and everything also. So that kit, the pulley that it comes with, they say runs 8 to 9 psi on a stock engine. My engine's not stock, so it'll probably be 6 or 7 psi. The engine's more efficient, so you don't need as much boost, and because a pulley is it spins it at a fixed rate. If you have a more efficient engine, it creates less boost. So it'll be about 6 or 7 psi. Well, then when I go to altitude, that same mentality comes into play. So it'll be, with the thinner air, I'm still spinning at the same 5 psi maybe. Not going to be a whole bunch. I mean, it'll still make maybe 100 more horsepower, so maybe the same as that nitrous. But obviously I've got a blower on there, and I get to turn the boost up in the future, hopefully. The turbo cars are a little bit better up there, because if they're running less boost because of the thin air, the wastegate's just going to stay closed for that much longer, and then you'll get the same boost. So they don't really lose a ton of horsepower, if any. I'm not sure entirely. I think that's it. Right here I've got the to-do list, so I got to show you that now. Alright, the list. I got rid of the tape, and now I just got a marker board. Excuse my awful handwriting. I'll try to keep this camera steady. Again, it's hard to do so. These are nice-ish to have, with a couple changes, and then these are more necessary to have. Go over the necessary. Well, I'll go over these first. Roof rack. Actually, I'm going to move that over because I need that. Nope. What else do I need? Nothing. So on the need to have, tune, obviously, battery cutoff, that's for NHRA, need that. Blinkers, obviously. Fender liners, I'll move that back over there. The alignment, of course, which I've got a sort of a do-it-yourself alignment thing I'm going to do first and see how that goes. Center gauges, I actually don't need those. All of the information that's on those 3 center gauges I have in HP tuners. They look cool, and it'll be nice to have them up and functional, but it's not necessary. Body panels, just need a few nuts and bolts around there. Rear wheel stud, I replaced the front wheel stud, but now I need, there's a rear one that's broken as well. Overflow hose. This hose, I didn't have the right one, so I just rigged something up temporarily. That won't pass, so I'll have to do that. Supercharger. Registration, I've got insurance and title, I just haven't registered it yet for obvious reasons. Tax, speedo, fuel, working on that, the gauge cluster. Reassemble the interior. Verify the cooling system. It's got a nice aftermarket radiator with nice fans. I'm just not convinced it's up to par, so we'll see. I'll just make sure that that is bled properly and all that jazz. Adjust ride height. I have IBOC ground control coilovers, so I'll be able to adjust that. And the clutch master cap, if you recall, again, it's a T56 manual. That is the clutch master cylinder. It did not fit in between the firewall and the strut tower. I got a different one for the LS, so I had to cut a hole in the strut tower. Ooh, sorry. Yep. So what I have to do is cap that. That's part of the alignment kit. And there's the wheels again. Those are cool. So that's what I have to do. All that stuff still. It's coming along though. I'm driving it. I think I said this earlier. I'm driving it a lot. relatively speaking. I'll fire it up every day and go drive a little bit and refine the tune a little bit, all that stuff. So that's where I stand. I will keep working on it and keep giving you updates. Peace out.